This is Dr. Janice R. Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives to have the clarity, the confidence, and the courage to stand on her own platform without being a distraction to her husband's ministry. How's everybody doing on today? It is Sunday, and time for another First Lady Coach moment. So glad to have you here on this evening, and we are going to have a good time today because I, again, am trying some new things. So I want you to hang in there with me. I'm going to be trying some new things, trying to step my game up a little bit. So work with me, okay? So it is Sunday, and anything about me, I am Dr. Janice R. Love, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives to have clarity, confidence, and the courage to walk boldly into the destiny for which she was chosen by being perfectly who God created her to be. So, again, welcome. If you are there and you are on the First Lady Coach page or another one of my pages, make sure you are jumping in that chat box because I am keeping up with what's going on in the chat box today. So we're going to have some fun tonight. Hey, Bridget, good to see you. And those of you who are joining, so glad to have you on tonight. So first of all, let's get started. I'm going to throw a little something in here before we get started, and then we are going to roll from there. All right, here we go. All right, how we do? Hopefully it came through and you are still with me. All right, again, we are here tonight to talk about the real truth about self care and why it may be working against you. Now, if you have been following me for a while, you know that I come on Mondays, either through Facebook, Instagram, or somewhere, and I have a moment listed. That me time moment is all about having self care. So, when we think about self care, are we truly defining it the right way? If we are not defining it the right way, sometimes the self care that we think we are getting may be working against us. So, once again, tonight we are going to be talking about the real truth about self care and why it may be working against you. All right. So, this week I went to give blood. Now, I am a person that tries to give blood because it's one of the ways that I give back. So every 6 months or so, maybe sometimes every quarterly, I will go into the blood bank to give some blood. Now, I do this for a couple of reasons. Because number one, back when I weighed under 115 pounds, I got kicked out of blood banks. Okay. But now that I'm over 115 pounds, I can actually give blood and maybe it doesn't take so long. So I went and gave blood this week. And in preparation for giving blood, I made sure I did all the self care things that they remind us to do. And successfully, I was able to give blood. It took a little longer than normal, but hey, we got it done. So let me tell you about another time that I went to give blood. And we're talking about self care here. Okay. I went in to give blood. It happened to be a holiday. So I felt like I was rested enough. I had eaten plenty. I had had a pretty calm day. And so I decided I was going to go give blood. Went, gave the blood like a pro, and then decided that I was going to treat myself to a pedicure. So off I went to, they tell you to go home and rest right after you give blood, but no, not me. I was going to treat myself. I was going to practice some self care. So off I went to the nail salon and had my wonderful self care. Was in the middle of my pedicure when all of a sudden the room started closing in on me, and I was going, "Woo! I don't feel so well." So I proceeded to get up to go to the bathroom, and somewhere between getting out of the chair and heading toward the bathroom door, I passed out. stone cold out. Now, the funny thing about this is I'm at the nail salon. Remember that, okay? And when I did come to, I didn't know what was going on because all I knew was I was flat on my back, my feet and my hands were in the air, and people were talking a language I didn't understand. So I told my husband that I thought I had gone to heaven and they put me in the wrong section of heaven because I couldn't understand what they were saying. Anyway, the point is, it's all about self care, right? So I believe that I was doing self care by running off to get me a pedicure after I had given to someone else. Remember, we're talking about self care and why it may be working against us. So I learned several things from that trip to the nail salon after I gave blood. The first thing that I learned was that, are we truly defining self care correctly? Now, I believed in my mind that I was truly practicing self care when I left the blood bank to go and get me a pedicure. I figured that was self care. After all, it's something I enjoy doing and it's pampering myself. But actually, self care is defined another way. And let me tell you how the World Health Organization defines self care. They define self care as the ability for individuals to promote health, prevent disease, maintain and avoid disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. So when you think about self care, so many times we have defined self care as the things we do maybe to pamper ourselves or luxury. So when we think about self care, we think about getting a massage, maybe we're getting a pedicure, maybe we're going to the spa, maybe we're going on vacation, on a luxury vacation where we're sitting up, getting fed, and taken care of. Many times, that's the way we have defined self care. But self care really isn't about the luxury and all the things that we have to spend a whole lot of money on. It's simply taking care of yourself and preventing things from happening health wise, mentally, emotionally. It's preventing those things versus pampering ourselves and buying a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff that we are calling self-care. Anybody with me? Anybody ever believe that self-care was all about the massages, the pampering, the luxurious vacations, all the luxury we can imagine, the bubble bath with somebody feeding us grapes, right? Those are the things we have thought about many times when we think about self care. But as I want to share with you today, those are not the things that truly define self care. All right. Are you still with me? Are you all still with me? Come on. So I want to hear from somebody. Are you still with me? Again, we often define self care in the wrong way. So, first of all, think about how you have been practicing self care and how you are defining self care. Because I had it all wrong until I truly understand what self care was all about. Now, the second thing that can be a challenge for us and is a real truth about self care is that self care is something we believe that self care is something that we do after we have served other people. Case in point, again, I I decided that I would treat myself after I gave blood. And so there I went to get me a pedicure, and I didn't have enough energy left in me in order to enjoy the self care that I thought I was doing. So again, so many times we feel like we deserve self-care because of all the things that we have done to serve others. But if I really paid attention to what it said before I even gave blood, I would have realized that I had to be in good shape. I had to practice all that self care before I could even give to somebody else. Otherwise, me giving to somebody else was going to totally drain me dry. So if I had paid attention to what I was supposed to be doing, and which I thought I was doing, I did eat right that day, right? I did attempt to get enough sleep. I did attempt to make sure I wasn't eating a lot of junk. I also drank plenty of fluids. And these are self-care items that we should be doing anyway, and not because we're going to serve somebody. Those things will give us the strength to be able to go out and serve. I had it a little backwards. I thought that I get to do self care because I took care of somebody else first. Again, is anybody with me? So many times we only practice that self care after we are worn out from serving and from doing and giving to everybody else. So let's flip that thing around and let's accept the real truth that we are to practice self care before we give out all of our energy to people. All right. So, the third thing I learned from my experience is there are various types of self care, and we need to practice the one that is appropriate for what we need. Now, when I am working with my clients, I do what we call a self care plan. We look at the various areas, whether it's relational, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, uh, what's one of the others? We look at the whole picture, even intellectual. We look at the whole picture, even financial, because we have to make sure you are practicing self-care in those areas. So just getting enough sleep helped me in the relational area where I need to practice self-care, where I can have friends or those who I'm able to trust with, those I am able to have fun with. if I have if I practice relational self-care and it doesn't help with my spiritual self-care, then I am practicing the wrong kind of care for what I need. Does this make sense? So again, I learned so many things from my little experience of just going to give blood. You all see how I can just get a story out of anything. But again, so many times we see self-care, we define it the wrong way. And again, because we define it the wrong way, sometimes we're left again frustrated because now we don't have that peace. Now we don't have that relief that we wanted to have when we practice self care. Then, secondly, again, many times we will do the self care after we have done all the work in serving everybody else. And we need to make sure it's something we are doing all the time. It's not just a once a month kind of thing. Self care is essential. It is should be part of our daily lives. And then finally, make sure you are getting the right type of self care for the area where you may be experiencing challenges or where you need that self care. All right. So, once again, thank you for joining me on today because I want you to be able to practice self care and then be able to just live that wonderful life, that bold life, that where you are able to walk clearly and boldly into the destiny for which God has chosen you. So I'm going to play one little snippet and then I will be back for our closing. All right. So again, I was trying some new things today, and I want to see what's going on out there in the chat box. Who we have out there? We got Sheila, Facebook user. Makes sense. Thank you for sharing that it makes sense to you. So again, I was trying some new things, and I also want to announce to you that I am going to be doing some doing some things differently, especially from a Facebook perspective. So you may be watching me on my personal page, which is Janice Emerson Love. You might be watching me on my First Lady Coach page, or you might even be watching from my private group, which is More Than a Helpmate. So starting next Sunday, I am now no longer going to stream to my personal page. So if you are watching me from my personal page, which is Janice Emerson Love, then I want you to go over and follow the First Lady Coach page so you will be able to experience my live. Okay? Can I get you to do that? Also, if you are following me and you are someone who wants to be part of my private group and you are on Facebook, you can go to More Than a Helpmate and join my private group. Again, this is for ladies, again, who are married to influencers or married to ministry. All right. So again, thank you all for joining me on today. Let's see, Benita, hey, how you doing as well? So good to see you all. So I'm going to be trying to blend this so that I will be able to present what we are talking about. And then I will also be able to upload it on YouTube. By the way, you all, I have a brand new YouTube channel. So make sure you join me for that. So if you're watching me on LinkedIn, definitely follow me. If you are watching me from YouTube, make sure you subscribe and follow, and then ring that bell so you'll know when I go live. And then again, if you're watching me from Facebook, starting next week, you will only be able to watch me from More Than a Helpmate or from the First Lady Coach. All right. Once again, I am Dr. Janice R. Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives to have the clarity, the confidence, and the courage to bold the destiny for which she was chosen by being perfectly who God created her to be. Thanks again for joining me. I will see you on next week. Until then, be blessed. Bye bye.